Are you worried about hitting the VAT threshold? Maybe you're close to it. Maybe you think you'll hit it in the next few months. Or maybe you're actively trying to avoid it. If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. Because VAT isn't just an admin task, it's a mindset moment. And how you handle it says a lot about how you see your business. I'm Holly Coxey, and this is the Visionary VA Podcast. And today we're breaking down VAT. When to register, what it actually means, and how to handle it confidently with clients. So let's dive in. VAT is one of those milestones that feels exciting and terrifying in equal measure. At least that's how it felt for me when I reached that point in my VA business several years ago. On the one hand, it means you're growing. On the other hand, it means numbers, compliance, systems, and potentially awkward conversations about price increases. But we need to make this practical and calm, because VAT doesn't have to be scary. It's just another stage of growth. So, when do you need to register for VAT? Here in the UK, the VAT threshold is based on rolling 12-month turnover, not your financial year. At the time of recording in February 2026, the threshold is £90,000. That means if your total taxable turnover in any 12-month rolling period exceeds that threshold, you are legally required to register. It's not January to December. It's not April to April. It's any rolling 12-month window. And this is often where people get caught out. They suddenly look back and realise, oh no, I crossed that 2 months ago. So the first thing I'll say is, if you're approaching that level, start tracking monthly. You are legally required to register if you realise that your total taxable turnover is going to go over the £90,000 threshold in the next 30 days. Now, don't panic if you check and find out that you've already crossed the threshold. You have to register within 30 days of the end of the month when you went over the threshold. And if that's already passed, you will have to pay VAT on any sales you've made since the date you should have registered, and you may be liable to pay a penalty. So it could be an expensive mistake. This is why it's important to know your numbers and be prepared for when you're likely to hit that threshold. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of VAT and mindset for a minute. So many VAs see VAT as a negative and will say things like, I'm going to lose clients. I'll suddenly be too expensive. I don't want to deal with the admin. This feels complicated. But we need to reframe it, because VAT registration usually means you're growing. It means your business is working. It means your services are in demand. And that's not a problem. That's progress. Yes, it adds a little complexity, but if you reach this stage, you're running a serious business, and serious businesses have systems. Okay, so let's look at what VAT actually means for your pricing. This is where most of the anxiety lives, so let's keep this simple. If you are VAT registered, you charge VAT, currently 20%, on top of your fees. You collect it on behalf of HMRC, and you can reclaim VAT on business expenses. Now, here's the key question. Are your clients VAT registered? If your client is a VAT registered business, they reclaim the VAT, so it's not a real cost to them. And in those cases, VAT is largely neutral. The problem tends to arise with sole traders, small startups, therapists, coaches, small service providers, individuals who cannot reclaim VAT. For these types of clients, yes, your service effectively becomes 20% more expensive. So, what do? Well, you have a few options. Option 1, you can register and add VAT on top. Your rate stays the same, you simply add VAT. This is clear, clean, and professional. Option 2, you increase your net rate first. Some VAs choose to increase their pricing slightly before hitting VAT, so the jump isn't as noticeable later. Or option 3, you might choose to temporarily absorb some margin. But I'll be honest, if you're absorbing 20% long term, your pricing structure likely needs some work, so I wouldn't recommend it. Remember, you are meant to be running a business that makes money, not running an expensive hobby, and you don't need to feel guilty. Whichever option you go for, how you communicate the addition of VAT to clients is critical. And this is where confidence matters. Don't apologize, don't over-explain, don't position it as bad news. This is simply a stage of business growth. You might say something like, due to business growth and exceeding the VAT threshold, we will be registering for VAT from X date. From that point, invoices will include VAT at the standard rate. Short, professional, calm. And if someone pushes back, you can confidently explain it's a legal requirement. It reflects business growth. You remain committed to value and service. Make sure you give plenty of warning about the increase, at least a couple of months if possible, and work out exactly what the price increase will mean for them and their business. So for example, if your current rate is £35 per hour and you do 10 hours per month for them, the cost will rise from £350 a month to £420 a month. Now that increase of £70 to their total bill is equal to 2 hours of support. So if they really push back and are working to a strict budget, you could offer to reduce the hours to 8 per month to cover that increase. Or you could meet them halfway and perhaps just reduce by 1 hour for now and see how things go. Now, I certainly wouldn't go suggesting this too hastily, but in my view, it's a better approach than absorbing the cost yourself. Even if you've not yet hit the threshold, you might want to consider registering voluntarily, particularly if your clients are mostly VAT registered, or you want the perception of scale. This is strategic, not emotional. So talk to your accountant, model the numbers, and make an informed decision. In terms of what changes operationally when you register for VAT, you need to submit quarterly VAT returns, you need compliant bookkeeping, and you must track input and output VAT properly. You'll need to consider which VAT scheme to use, such as standard versus the flat rate. You should speak to your accountant about this. Now, this is why financial systems matter. You cannot scale your business without knowing your numbers. And VAT is often the moment people realize I need to tighten up my financial processes. That's not a failure, that's progression. And if you're building a team, VAT becomes even more relevant because your turnover can accelerate much more quickly. Large contracts can push you over the threshold sooner than you projected. And margin modeling becomes essential. You've got to know your margins, know your overheads, and know your break even. VAT shouldn't be a shock, it should be anticipated. So I really hope this overview has helped your understanding of all things VAT. I want you to remember that VAT isn't the enemy, it's a milestone to be celebrated. It means you've built momentum, your services are in demand, your business is operating at scale. It requires systems, maturity, and financial clarity. But those are all things you need anyway if you're stepping into leadership. So if you're approaching the VAT threshold, don't panic. Don't bury your head in the sand. Don't pretend it won't happen. Just start planning now. Ask, how does this affect my pricing? Who are my clients? What are my margins? Do my systems support this next level? VAT is not the moment your business becomes harder. It's the moment your business becomes more structured. And structure is what creates freedom long term. Thanks for tuning in to the Visionary VA podcast this week. I'll be back on the 5th of March with the next episode. And if this episode helped clarify things, please share it with another VA who's quietly worrying about VAT. And if you're unsure about your numbers, this is your nudge to book that accountant call you've been putting off. And if you're looking for some support from a great community as you build your VA business, come over to the Visionary VA Facebook group, where we have an awesome community of VAs building their business in exactly this way. I'll pop the link below. See you next time.